Sanbonani, Dumelang, Absheni, and hello. Welcome to Sports Wrap on UJTV. My name is Mpumelelo Dlamini, and I am, of course, going to bring you up to date with all things sports. Well, you know I never do this alone, right? So, welcome to our new home. Welcome. How are you?
Very good day to the viewers indeed, and to you, Lelo. I'm well, just a bit tired. It's been quite a long, lengthy season. But yeah, I'm still surviving, so indeed.
I mean, you're the man behind all the action, the lenses. You've been everywhere so far. We've missed out on a lot of sports. We've missed out on a lot of, updates. How do you feel about that?
Sounds like you're bragging when you say I am everywhere. But let's keep it modest. There's quite a lot of action, as you mentioned, that we've missed, and I wouldn't know where to start if we were to actually do a wholesome recap, But I think maybe like we usually start. Obviously, we've been having netball, football, cricket, basketball, hockey, rugby, going on in different tournaments and leagues. So I guess we'll obviously expand on those as the show goes on. Yeah.
Most definitely. I just want to know a highlight of the past month or so.
A difficult one indeed. I'll spend quite some time, reading and watching videos and interviews, trying to figure out, which is which, But yeah, I think for the sake of the show, I will go with the COSAFA qualifiers under 20 Africa Cup of Nations, that football tournament, that has recently been won by South Africa under 20 boys on the 5th of October. I think for me, the special mention goes to the UJ senior men's football head coach, the professor, Karabo Mukhudi, who was obviously part of the tech team, as an assistant coach. And I think what makes it beautiful for us as an institution is that, obviously, the beautiful work of him representing the country and the institution, at that national scale is very good, because I guess it speaks to the ability that he carries and obviously what he can do for the nation. So it's very good to have had that representation there, and most importantly, come back with the title. So I guess the next step is definitely the African Cup of Nations itself. So there's still more work to be done, despite having brought the call back home. So, but I'm proud of the team at large.
Well, interesting facts. Usually it's just taking, that national part of side. But obviously on my highlight of the week has to go to the former UJ football players, Phumelele Shimase, as well as the UJ alumni, Dineo Makagula, being named part of the 23. That will be a part of the European tour.
Yeah.
But it doesn't end there.
Of course.
It goes on to the COSAFA Women's Championship that will take place in Gqeberha.
Yeah, the B team is.
The likes of Aisha Musa, Matshidiso Masebe, Shannon Makomo, and Guguletu Hlami.
Yeah, great talent. We've seen all those athletes come through the B team in the Sasol League, playing the first team now, the Hulu Beds, playing Varsity Cup and Varsity Football, pardon me. The likes of Aisha and Makomo have been to Banyana before. So I think that experience coming down to the B team of the national team for the COSAFA that's coming up now should be a good anchor. I haven't had a great, obviously scan of the team, but I know we've got a mixture of athletes from UP Tags, from Lindelani Ladies, so it's very good for the UJ athletes to be so many of them in the team. Good representation, and hopefully they can obviously contribute to the team as expected, so that they can go and win the title.
We'll dive straight into it right after this. Please make sure that you follow us on all our social media platforms. We are UJ_sport as well as UJTV23. Let's have a look at your previous results. And David, most definitely before we took that mini ad break, we were still talking about football. And ABC is back.
Yeah, look, it's been quite some time without the boys being playing. After about 5 months of no competitive football, the boys are back to competing. Obviously, this is their second season of the ABC Motsepe League, and obviously we are yet to witness another journey, this year. I mean, I look around the team, in the new season, and I'm seeing quite, numerous new faces. So clearly, Coach Mohodi, went to look for some reinforcements. So as the season goes, we will see, how the boys, especially the new guys, adjust to the team and the environment in itself. Because so far they've played 2 games, won one, lost one. They lost the away game in the opening fixture, 3-0 away from home.
Yeah.
A very horrible game, if you ask me, because the team that they lost against is someone that just got promoted, into the new season. We were playing away from home. No disrespect to the opponent at all, but I think UJ considered the mistakes that cost them the game themselves. And when I was looking around the team after the game, you could see that the seniors were very disappointed. I think they knew that they could have done better, but the chemistry wasn't just there yet. Because when I speak to them, the preseason games went very well. So you would say they are in the right direction, just against the opponent in the actual game. Maybe a few guys cracked, making small mistakes in crucial positions, because the one goal came from a penalty, and the following 2 goals. It was pure defensive errors, and the goalkeeper didn't see anything, but it was just a game of that magnitude, and I hope the team can fix their chemistry going forward, so that they can just work on a proper team chemistry and be able to obviously compose themselves, because sometimes opponents, they will capitalize on your own mistakes or how your emotional intelligence in that game. So nothing personal. Everybody knew that they deserved the game, just that it was unfortunate, but I think it's balanced. 1 win, 1 draw so far, and you've got quite a lot of games to go, so it's only the beginning.
Hey, most definitely. And ABC, it's just 2 games, ne? But also Hollywood Bets has been going on, and we're currently sitting at 3rd place, ne, after 27 games. So how many more do we still have left?
We still have 2 league games remaining with the women's football team. The season is coming to an end. Can you imagine? It's been quite a long season. I think, in my view, we are going to finish in 3rd position. Because we've got EWC above us, we've got TS Galaxy below us. If my memory serves me well, Sundowns is very far ahead of us. They've got 74 points on the log, and the trophy might as well. They might as well start engraving the trophy. But it's been a lengthy league, coming to an end with 2 games left for the UJ, sitting, as you say, in 3rd position with 59 points. And like I've said, the title race is totally, out of reach for us. However, they can still be proud of themselves for the great improvement on the log positional standings, because in the past 3 years, UJ women have finished in 9th, 6th, and 5th position, if I recall correctly. So hypothetically, they could be sitting in 2nd position now with 71 points, and chasing Sundowns, who have 74 now. But before the COSAFA qualifiers in Malawi, for me, that's where I usually lost the plot, because in those 4 games before that qualifiers happened, usually lost 1, drew 2, and won 1. And that's exactly where EWC, obviously, who was below us at the time, occupied the 2nd spot, and it's been like that ever since. So I think if that 4 games we did better, chances are we could be telling a different story now. But I believe that the goal was never to win the trophy, but it was to improve on the positional standings. That's how much, or as far as I know, the team. So I think, in my view, the trophy is far-fetched, but they definitely have achieved an objective of finishing top 4, so they should still be proud of themselves. And the only pressure they have now is to maintain the performance in the 2025 season. But I think we have a great team developing, and we have a greater chance to be consistent in the coming season as well.
I'm very anxious about USA. I really wonder what it's going to bring, because with so much flair from the women,
of course,
but also so much flair from the men's as well. We need a varsity football in 2025, most definitely.
Of course. The women, I have no doubt they will qualify for the 2025 varsity disc campaign. It is up to the boys now, obviously, to redeem themselves and come back, because the pressure is definitely on. Everybody will be looking to see UJ when we get to USA in December. So that is just another challenge that they should be able to plug out and do what they dare to do on the field and focus firstly on the top 8 finish in the group stage fixtures, and then after qualifying for Varsity Disc 2025, we can now focus on winning USA.
And in terms of USA, speaking of which, we had the sevens all the way in Kimberley in the heat. But it was cold. There was no heat.
Yeah, look, given the season of the year, it was quite a different weather. When you look at the climate, obviously different teams come from different points of the country, and those things play a role. Might have been a challenge for some and not for some, but I think the problem with the sevens rugby is that one mistake can definitely cost you a game, and we've seen it with not only UJ men but with many teams as well. To start off, obviously, in my view, and others that I will mention, when we discuss sport, the seeding of the pools was arguably questionable. So someone even asked, in a quote unquote, what is the purpose of final lock standings if it is not used when seeding groups? Because you can have top 8 teams and bottom 8 teams, obviously in the final lock positions. And when they are seeded across the pools, you see a whole different story. For example, the Turks, UJ, and Vets were seeded in one group. And someone asked, how can you seed 3 teams from one province in one group? They might as well have played each other in Gauteng, and the winner might just go down and represent the group. And Matis was seated with Wusu, and Matis is a top 8 team, and Wusu was a bottom 8 team. So maybe, unless if I don't understand how the seeding works, but those things. From the get-go, you could just see a different picture. Matis did lose to Wusu in the opening fixture. Wusu won the second game. Matis got disqualified. We ended up seeing Stadio and Taxia in the final. Stadio, which is a very, very new team, first time. Competitive-wise, yes, they are very good. We give that to them. But if the seeding can be done fairly to spread the top 8 teams across the pools and then obviously filter the other teams, I think competition will be a bit spread across and balanced, because some games are obvious that, okay, this team's going to win, this team's going to lose. And then it became harder for others to qualify, because like usually obviously won 1, drew 1, and lost 1. And that game they drew, which they could have won. In the last minute after the horn went, they were attacking, and the attacker got tackled on the 5 meter just before he scored a try. So very, very small margins, I know, obviously. But the ladies obviously were knocked out in the semi-finals after sudden death extra time. A very, very, heartfelt game against an opponent that was equally competitive, but the same opponent, when they go to the final, then you ask yourself, how did you qualify? Because they were literally nowhere to be seen. So it was a very interesting tournament, But in my view, it was very painful to see, obviously, a non-positional improvement by the UJ men, who finished in ninth position again for the 3rd time in a row. That is not good. I love it for the ladies, obviously, who moved from position 5 to 3 now. That is good improvement and a great experience overall. And hopefully 2025 we can return greater results.
And it actually makes me wonder, what is this Varsity Cup 2025 is going to look like?
I think if I cast my eyes across many teams, we are going to probably see a few shocks here and there. I think we are in a phase as well of rebuilding, and by many institutions where senior players are leaving or they're signing provincial contracts. And obviously, URC just started now, which means by the time Varsity Cup plays, URC will still be on, and most franchises wouldn't be keen to release players to go back to universities, because they keep them in that B team, which usually is the Currie Cup side, for in case of any injuries. Let's make a blunt example. RF Schoolman, who's a usually student athlete and is only, I think, 21 or 22, he is now touring to Europe with the URC squad for the Emirates Lions. He played Currie Cup and he's been featured in URC now. So definitely we might not have him, for Varsity Cup next year. Heiko Pullman is also training with URC. So the images like that just give you an idea of what the institutions are obviously being faced with. So which means recruitment should have been done hard, and they should still be doing hard recruitment now, so that when Varsity Cup comes next year, you are not relying on provincial players primarily, but it would be nice to have them obviously for experience sake. But I think we're going to see a few changes which might maybe make it a bit open for teams obviously to contest for the title.
Tough decision. We'll see. I mean, there's really nothing much that you can do besides show up and perform. And if it doesn't go your way, it doesn't go your way.
Yeah.
But this past weekend, a bus went to Limpopo.
Oh, yes.
You saw stuff. Netball and football. I mean, the netball, I wasn't expecting any less. Because I mean, we have the best in that Mr. Netball.
Of course.
But in the football...
Look, this is the second annual University Sports South Africa Staff League. So it's still very, very new, which is good because I think the primary or the simplest definition is for staff to have recreational, activities because they spend so much time behind the computers in the labs or whatever work they do. Obviously, we're working and they forget to have, fun. So I think that was a very great chance for staff. For the tournament to be created for staff, and we had quite the multiple new teams, the likes of Tex, Vets, who had joined us, Free State and CUT, who were not there in 2023. Look, the football team for UJ,
David, you should have tried at least to get out.
I'm trying to find the best ways possible. Losing a game 1-0 is very tough, but I think we lacked creation of our goals on attack. On very rare occasions, we had chances on goal, and it was just one of those defensive errors which cost us a game, and you were knocked out in that fashion because on day one you played 2 games and you had to win just one, and unfortunately we lost both and we're out in that fashion. The netball ladies had a very, very great run, winning all the games until the host Limpopo in the final were like, hold on guys, we're going to give you some competition, and they lost 35-17 in the final. I think big ups to them still. They very much obviously gave it their all. It was just a competitive game. I mean, we can only obviously go back next year to try again.
Can we maybe see you in the team instead of on the technical side of things next year, maybe?
Okay. Let's
But I actually want to know, how does one make the team, especially if you're part of the staff of UJ? How do you try out to make maybe the USA team?
So before we go far, let's brag a bit. I was shortlisted for the preliminary squad. Yes, I chose to not go to training. I was tired. I was honestly tired. And I've been traveling too much, and I had to also weigh out my options, Even that week I wasn't supposed to be there because of the netball. It just happened that, did some magic. So primarily we have the staff league at UJ, which is different departments forming football and netball teams to compete against each other. Towards the USA championship tournament, then there is a team of selectors who will go around watching all games to select the prominent athletes, and then that final team or the preliminary team will train together for a few weeks and then chopped down to 20 players finally. Then those are the guys who will travel. So that's how it works. So if you are watching and you're thinking, hey, I also want to play sport, for UJ as a staff member, or I want to travel next year, find out from a department if they have a sports team and encourage you to join because it's very fun, very refreshing, and it's a good stress reliever. So, and maybe you could be, part of the final team that travels to go represent the institution, I mean, many of them have got silver medals now. And it could be you.
But not there by the football side. Where's Pat? UJ is performing in terms of football.
Yeah.
No pressure.
We must question the coach.
No pressure. Most definitely, David. And, right, let's have a look at the upcoming fixtures. And last week we had the UJ Future Walk. David, I didn't see a walk. I didn't.
You didn't see me walk?
I didn't see a walk.
Girl, what did you take me for?
How was it from your side?
Great numbers, great turnout. I was walking, but obviously unofficially. I mean, someone has to capture the moment, So I did my part. Look, I witnessed a great turnout, and hopefully we can keep the numbers growing, obviously for the next edition. What I love about the turnout is not only the numbers, obviously, of people who participated, but rather the funds that are generated through the course itself, obviously, which is raising funds for the missing Miglo students who are unable to cover their academic funds from the institution. So, if I recall well, I think I scanned through the article that was reported on the event. Yeah. We raised about, if I am correct, about 500,000. Obviously, sounds like not a huge figure, but it is a huge figure. It makes a huge difference. So that is very good. And hopefully more brands can see the value, obviously, in return on investment and follow the footsteps of Akwele and Lucky Star going forward. I think it worked very well that also we had obviously icons such as obviously Connie Ferguson and a team to draw more numbers. So the biggest thing now is to maintain those relations and obviously negotiate for bigger, obviously portions going forward, so that obviously we can continue helping athletes through the course of obviously keeping a healthy lifestyle. I mean, it's a double hit, You're working to maintain your healthy lifestyle or to start your healthy lifestyle, and also helping someone obviously to get through the academics. So that was very good for me, and I really loved the turnout.
So most definitely 2025 is a bigger one.
Has to be a bigger one. I mean, the VC obviously is pushing its boundaries. He says maybe it's time we have more than 2 editions in a year. So yeah, I don't know. It could be good, but obviously you don't wanna I don't know what's the right word, over fluctuate everything, So maybe for now we're good, but if there is market for more editions, might as well go for it.
Hey, we're gonna be walking, but the same way that netball has been performing. Outstanding performance. Unfortunately and unlucky, sudden death, it gets the best of us, and 58, 55.
Yeah, a very great season for varsity netball. And I always say, I wish I could take some of you guys behind the scenes, when we're preparing for these games. And you will get a different element of the team from what you see on court, because you guys only get to see the 1 hour of playing. Yeah. But there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes. We had quite a lot of new faces in the team. But when they play, you wouldn't even say that, actually, this is a new UJ team. So it was very tough, in Free State. The crowd was hostile. But obviously we had our own fans as well. The venue was packed to the brim, a very, very intense game. Obviously, like you say, we went into extra time, like in 2023. So I think that's a good thing. We're the only team in varsity netball to take a game to extra time, so it just speaks to the competitiveness of the game. But from where I was sitting, and standing watching the game, man, what a tournament. What a final. Because I feel like in the first few quarters, our goal shooter, Muhluri, was a bit, scared. One thing Kofsis did very well, in my view, is to, obviously disturb our ball movement in the center. So that forced our goal attacker, Henley's person, to come out of the circle to try to collect the ball from the center. Whereby by the time she turned to try to fit the circle, Muhluri was alone with 2 defenders. So obviously it was difficult to get the balls inside the circle and keep the accuracy as it is. But I think statistically we had a better chances. Just that, there's a few moments of the game that really cost us, where coaches turned over multiple balls, us not scoring the second power play and all those things. So I really feel for the girls. I wish the girls should have won this, especially because we've got obviously outgoing athletes. You do want to go out with gold. But yeah, that's just the game. Unfortunately, losing by 3 points. And yeah, we've got silver. It counts for something, but we definitely need that trophy. So hopefully 2025 can obviously be the season for UJ.
And definitely this silver medal does qualify them. Hint, hint. Team of the year, maybe.
Yeah, look, we've got the UJ Gala coming up now in November. Definitely they should be a contender for Team of the Year. When I look around, we didn't have much achievements this year. So them, in my view, in athletics are probably, going up that route to compete for that award once again.
We'll be there to bring it to you live. We'll see, David, if you bet. Maybe.
Let's bet on it.
Let's bet on it. Crush of the week, or anything that you would say stood out for you so far?
As I mentioned in the opening, there's been a lot happening, and I struggled to pick out these moments, But I'll just go with Malembe Mpofu. He's a professional rugby player, as he stands, the 28-year-old lock. He signed with the Washington side, Sickle Sea Wolves Rugby. And I always say that moving abroad is a good opportunity for South African athletes because we have great positional competition, in South Africa. Therefore, getting game time in South Africa is always a contest, a good one, because you find that you've got 4 players competing for one position, things like that. So going out to play is always good. He played for UJ, the club, and Varsity Club, back in the days, and moved on to play for the Northwest Bucker, and then play for the provincial side, the Leopards, and he eventually signed with the Erling Pumas in Mpumalanga. Spread. So I would say it is evident that the Asian and American rugby sports is pushing some serious development, and they see value obviously in involving South African athletes to help them develop their rugby. Hence why you see so many SA players signing in Asia. That would be Japan and Korea, and then obviously America with some of the teams. Either way, these guys will always come back home at some point. So I encourage them to go if they get the opportunity. Look at Kenan Moody as well. He's just been loaned to an Asian team by the Vodacom Blue Bulls. And in the statement, they said he'll be back in time for the URC playoff later in the season. So it's not because Kenan is not good enough. He's a Springbok after all. But positionally, there's competition at the Bulls right now. So if they don't see him playing now, then it's better for him to keep fit somewhere else where he can also benefit, obviously financially and game time as well wise. And when he comes back, he'll probably be a bit more stronger, because we know if you put Ken, on the wing, you put Keklo on the other side, you've got Cheslin, you've got Mapimpi. So competition is healthy, but I think for guys like him, it's very good to go out and help those teams to develop their rugby and come back home with obviously massive experiences. Also, it's good for Malembe, very happy for him, and obviously looking to see him develop further as a player. Maybe when he comes back, another franchise will poach him.
And speaking about rugby, my crush of the week has to go to the WXV.
Oh, yes.
The women, never seen this before. And for the fact that our captain, Siya Kolisi, is so excited to also be a part of it and also promoting so much on social media, it really means a lot for women rugby. And it really says that we're really moving up the correct tier now in terms of support.
Yeah, Siya is a true definition of a captain, if we can put it that. Someone said he's not a South African captain, he's a world captain because he's so humane as well. Obviously, we've seen recently a restructure of the coaching staff at the SA Rugby, specifically the women and the 7 structures. So I don't know if you want to attribute the performance to the new coaches, the likes of Save the Brain, who's there as well. Obviously he took Shameless to a final in 2022 Varsity Cup, and all those things. He's got great experience. He's an analyst. He's been there before, as a player, as a coach. Yes, the ladies are doing very well. We'll have to see the improvements. Currently sitting third on the log. So hopefully they can obviously keep the momentum high and, go and contest for the title itself.
Hi, and hopefully we'll have more of the UJ ladies maybe in the future also. It's really promising. But David, I have to close it right there from my side. Anything from you?
None at all. I think there's nothing much happening now. Obviously, it's exam season, so most leagues have ended. We just have obviously the ABC that just started. Hollywood Bets is finishing now. We've got the indoor hockey going to playoffs, and we've got the cricket as well. Obviously, that just started with the 50 over league as well as the T20 Black Widow T20, and good enough. The usually the T20 team has made the playoffs again, and hopefully they can defend the title as they won it in the previous season. So there's nothing much happening, but there's still some sport to keep up with, both at university level, provincial and national level. So
And to close it off today, thank you very much for joining us today on Sports Wrap on UJTV. Well, my name is Mpumelelo Dlamini, and a big shout out goes to the UJ supporters. You guys are always there whenever there's action. And thank you very much for that. Please make sure that you follow us on all our social media platforms. We are UJ_sport as well as UJTV23. From now, until next time, goodbye.